Good afternoon. I'm Ken Cook with Environmental Working Group. I'm here not to give a recap, an update, but to give a preview. But I have to say, changing the way we eat, I changed before lunch in important ways. I found myself curiously desperate for the arrival of Monday. Did any of you? Whereas Friday now gives me a sense of misgiving. Looking out over 2 long, endless days of unstructured activity that separate me from Monday. Insects. I'm ravenous for them. Any insect. Crickets, of course. The gateway bug. Megan, I don't know how the food database is going to score crickets, but Peggy and Sid, I can pretty much guarantee you it will debut on a Monday. This project, by something we had done with personal care products a few years earlier, a Skin Deep website, we call it, where we rate 80,000 different personal care products, and we look at all the unregulated ingredients in them, and give consumers a guide for what to buy if they want to avoid hazardous chemicals. It's actually now right around 80,000 products also. It's seen something like 40 million visits, and we're inching up on 500 million page views. People want this kind of information. I've heard from CEOs of dozens of companies that they now use Skin Deep to formulate their personal care products, and we've helped launch a new segment of the industry that's finally trying to get rid of all the toxic stuff in personal care products. Very exciting. But the most exciting thing anyone said to me about the impact of this came from an executive in the personal care products industry, very high up into it. And she said, before Skin Deep, women thought they were putting on makeup, and now they think they're putting on chemicals, right? With the food database, which will launch later this year, we want to try and have that same impact. There are lots of ways in which we have to fix and change the food system, but one of them is make it easy for consumers to begin identifying some of the clear problems with it. We'll be rating with a series of dials and deep data, deep analysis to back it up. We'll be looking at the degree of processing, how foods are processed. We'll be looking at the hazards in some of the ingredients, as many as we can develop hazard information for. We'll be looking, of course, at nutrition. Right now, it's at about 80,000 products in beta phase. It's a very large data set already. 5,000 different ingredients and about 1,500 brands. Now, we were inspired to try this database out this past week by my friend Vani Hari, AKA the Food Babe. Yeah? Isn't she amazing? So her recent investigation of a chemical, I don't know why they call her that, her investigation of a chemical in bread that was used by Subway resulted in a slew of news stories and in a pledge from Subway to remove this chemical. It's used in yoga mats. It's used in shoes. It's used as a foaming agent in the plastics industry. Of course, it's in bread. Why wouldn't you put it in bread? So we took the food database in its beta version, behind closed doors still, and we thought we would search for this chemical to see if it shows up in any of the 80,000 foods that we currently have in. The chemical is called azodiacarbonamide, all right? Can you say that? Good. You shouldn't be able to say it. And when we ran it into the database, up came almost 500 products, all kinds of breads, breadsticks, sandwiches, pre-made foods, other junk, and 130 brands. We called it nearly 500 ways to make a yoga mat sandwich. And we generated, thanks to Vani's inspiration, we generated a lot of media coverage ourselves. These are the brands in which we found it. They're on our website now, just as a demonstration of what can happen when you build a tool that helps people shop a little bit smarter. And the headlines are still rolling out there. We've got a lot of work to do. We'll be launching a campaign aimed at this chemical, and unfortunately, we still do have to go chemical by chemical in this area to try and get it out of food. So if you want to keep up to date on the food database as it's launching, please take note of that address, and it's on its way.